We are back with the Dr. Joe Show, and we are having one fascinating conversation right here, right now, with Dr. Ross Carter.
It sure is. And Mark, you were asking a question off air. Do you mind if we go back
Absolutely.
to that?
So going on 18 years and 16 years ago, at the time that my children were born, I opted to have their stem cell extracted at the birthing table and stored. And every year I'm paying a storage fee for it. So I asked Dr. Ross if A, that was a good idea, and B, if, well, I haven't asked you this yet, but if there's some new advancements that I can actually take possession of those or do something else with that stem cell.
Yeah, and the answer is absolutely great choice to do 18, well, you said 16, 18 years ago?
Yeah.
That, that's surprising because most people in that period of time would not have chose to do that because, well, it probably was fairly expensive. But it's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. And anybody having a child or soon to have a child, they should always try to store and save that. It's really an insurance policy. It's the best insurance policy you can really have, because you can regenerate a lot of different issues. It's really good. You could use it yourself. Your family could use it. It could be used for other people, not just your children. So so what I would do is contact the company that's doing storing the placental tissue, and see what they've done with it did they store it in separate pieces, or how was it stored, and what you can do with it yourself. Can you defrost part of it and utilize it, or what is their criteria? But it's an amazing thing to keep and use for yourself. And it really, people pay $5,000 to $10,000 for one treatment, and you've just stored about 1,000. So
wow.
It's very valuable.
Cool.
So this actually gets into something that's really, I think, powerful. So a stem cell can be used. You said that anyone could use a stem cell.
Yes.
So it doesn't create an immune response. It doesn't create an immune rejection.
It does, but not initially. What's amazing about stem cells is they have the ability to be what's called immunoevasive, meaning they can evade the immune system for a period of time of someone else. They really do two things when they become activated, which is what they do. They become active. And then what they can do is they modulate the immune system. So that usually means that they take down inflammation and they kind of hide from being destroyed. And the second thing they do is they set up a regenerative area or site so regeneration can happen. So that's how they can evade the immune system for a period of time, even if it's not the cell of the person that it came from.
Well, not to get all shrinky and philosophical about it, but what does that say about us as a human species and our similarity with each other, that you could take a stem cell from anyone?
Not only that, I do seminars every week for a large health institute here in West Palm Beach. And one of the participants actually on Tuesday said he had stem cell. And I was like, oh, tell us about your experience. And he said, I got it from baby sharks, and they injected it in my neck and I was like, you can do that, I guess. I would not advise it, but you can use stem cells from cross species. I know they use human stem cells for animals as well, and it's successful. See, you have to understand that the stem cell itself, when you're using someone else's, doesn't actually become the tissue. It stimulates your own body to heal itself. It's like if you drank coffee and you were tired and suddenly you have this energy. It's your body that's creating that energy. It's not really the coffee. It's stimulating your body to have a response. Well, stem cells are similar in that when you put them, you inject some stem cells from your body or someone else into a damaged area. What it does is it surveys the area and determine what needs to happen. And then it starts a process it sends out chemical messages to the local cells in that area, and then they start the repair. So you have what's called quiescent cells, which are basically just dormant cells that aren't repairing for whatever reason. As we get older, the amount of cells that we have that repair goes down, and their abilities also decrease. This is a way to stimulate them to get to work again. That's how it works.
So could it also be used as a fountain of youth type of therapy?
Absolutely. That is actually, I would say, the closest we have to a fountain of youth, because the 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 cells that make our body are able to heal our body. So we can use it. And I work with a lot of celebrities. They use this as an IV on a monthly basis, where they're using stem cells or something called exosomes, which I'll tell you about in a second. And they use that as an IV, and it regenerates your body, and it actually changes, goes into epigenetics, and we can start to change our age and make us younger. Because when you're taking cells from a younger person, it will actually influence your cells to act more young, and it can change the epigenetics, which has to do with the expression of your genes. So you are an expression of your genes right now. But what happens as you get older, your genes start to turn off. They become methylized. And so you have a methyl group that attaches and turns off the genes, and the expression of those genes is different. Like, for example, like when most people are young, they can drink milk, even cow's milk, and they don't have a challenge. But as we get older, we tend to not be able to drink milk. So why is that? Why does that happen? Well, the gene that allows us to break down milk is turned off. So that's epigenetics. What if we could turn that gene back on? Then you could drink milk again, right? So that's the same thing that happens when we're doing these procedures. We can actually change the epigenetics code to be as a younger version. They did this, a cool, crazy, weird study where they took two mice, and one was an old one and one was a new one, and they connected their bloodstreams, right? And then they wanted to see what would happen. And what was really amazing was the old mouse started to build new bone and blood, and everything started becoming younger, even the brain functions. So they showed, but what's called parabiosis, how that young mouse connected to an old mouse made the old mouse young. And that's the same thing that we can do with our own bodies. We can use younger cells. We don't have to just use our own, but we can use younger cells to make ourselves younger as well. And that's a therapy that's extremely popular because it will genetically make you younger, or at least epigenetically.
Yeah, we got to hear more about that. I couldn't
Yeah,
help
we do.
thinking of the celebrities that you were talking about. Would we call them stem celebrities?
You just did.
You just did.
All those words. That
Sorry.
is funny. Stem
So-
celebrities. I have to use
So
that.
is there gonna be a way in the future to like sort of mass produce stem cells? Because when I think of like stem
Yep.
cell therapy, I think of like Star Wars when Luke's in the big tank, just like and just
I
it's
love
just like goo filling all the holes, and it's like, hey, you're bone now, you're blood now.
Well, yeah, that's really where it's going. As originally stem cells were, especially in the United States, when this is when George Bush was in office. There was embryonic stem cells going on at that time, and he was like very against it, and so was religion in general, because it was killing an embryo. But we've advanced so much. That was at least 20 years ago since that had happened. And we can just use placental tissue, which when a baby's born, the placental tissue remains, as we both know, and it usually is discarded. We can use that and recycle it. And we've got a regenerative factory right there. It has so many active cells that can just change people's lives. It can help with people that have like autoimmune diseases or autism or Parkinson's. Alzheimer's. It can help with all kind of different problems that we really struggle and don't have a solution for. regenerative medicine is where these solutions lie, but it's really a long process. It takes a long time to get these things through with these trials. But, if unfortunately other countries don't have such restrictions, and people travel and go to like Panama and Mexico and other places to do these stem cell procedures that are not even allowed here. I learned about stem cell therapy from Thailand. Actually, I flew to Thailand 10 years ago when I learned about it, because I broke my knee. I was I was 41, and I started. I was single. I wanted to start meeting women, and so I thought, hey, I know. Why don't I start taking dodgeball? That was the sport I started taking. This is in Atlanta. And so I joined a league, and I was like the oldest guy in the whole league. Everybody else was 20, and I was 41. I was playing. I was awesome fun. And then I threw a ball, and then suddenly I landed on my back, and I thought somebody had hit me, but nobody hit me. My knee collapsed and it fractured. So I fractured my knee, tore my ACL, and I had a rehab center at the time. So I was doing rehab. It didn't get better. I was always favoring my other knee when I would walk and everything. And, no one wants a limping doctor to say, hey, I'm going to fix your knee when I couldn't fix my own. So I was in kind of a desperation mode. I went to an orthopedist, and he said, well, you have to have surgery. There's nothing you can do. So they said, hey, you can have a part of your hamstring attached, or we'll do cadaver tissue. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I'd seen so many people with knee surgeries that did not work out. That, there's so many. And so I was like, there has to be something, a gap. There's a gap between, physical therapy or physical rehab and surgery. There was something that was missing. And what I found out, it was regenerative medicine and stem cell, but I had to find out and go to Thailand for 3 months and learn all about it there. And that's how I got involved. And once I did a procedure, a month later, my problem was gone. I never had surgery, and I still haven't had surgery, and I run every day. So it really worked for me. And I've seen it work with thousands of patients that I've worked with too.
So that's how you got into it.
That's how I got into it, out of necessity. I didn't know anything about it before. I was like the general public. I'd heard the negative stories. At that time, it was like Lolly the Lamb, and where they did the cloning and the negative things. So I'd heard just bad things.
Well, what's the connection there? Like, where's the cloning dialogue coming from? Were they actually cloning? And like,
yeah, they took a lamb and they made another one out of it. I don't know how they did it.
But where's the connection between stem cells? Because that is the negative.
To do that.
Okay.
They use stem cells to do that. So, for me, that, so I just never heard anything good, or I never heard it used as a therapy for a general public. I'd only heard of it as research, So this was the first time I was like, hey, I could actually use this for something to fix me. So that's why I flew there. I'm like, I got to go, because I can't be congruent with my beliefs if I'm limping around trying to help other people with their knee pain.
Right. So you were really out of joint and out on a limb. But sorry, that was a knee joke.
Okay. You need a little drum and a cymbal when you have
we do.
Stretch the canvas, brush with my